Okay, calling the Committee on Ways and Means to order. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business Monday, February 23rd, 10 a.m. in this room. This is for decision-making only. No oral testimony will be taken for these measures. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to our website. You will find a link on the status page of each measure. Okay, first item, SB 99, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussions? If not, chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on SB 99. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Decoy.
Aye.
Senator Elefante.
Aye.
Senator Hashimoto. Senator Inoue.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Kidani excused. Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Richards excused. Senator Wakai.
Yes.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Your recommendation adopted, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next item, SB 585, recommendation is to pass with amendments, just effecting the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
On SB 585, passed with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2060, recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're going to require that HHFDC create a project list for funds that will be transferred between sub-accounts and require that the list be made available to the public on their website upon the approval by the corporation. To require that the Director of Finance must receive approval from the legislature by concurrent resolution prior to transferring the funds between sub-accounts, and remove appropriations in sections 5 and 6, and insert a new section to add language from SB 2062, proposed SD1, to allow HHFDC to use funds that have been awarded but not unencumbered toward a different project, provided that the corporation must receive approval from the legislature by concurrent resolution. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
Okay, SB 2060, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2069, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Working with subject matter chair, we're going to be removing the repeal of the pilot program and extending the sunset from 2028 to 2030 on page 8, and adding a new subsection on page 3 to require that the units are in a transit-oriented development zone as defined by 206E-243. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2069, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item is SB 2110. Recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2110 to pass unamended, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation for Senator Favela. Anyone else? Okay, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2115. Recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
Okay, everyone present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted. Pass unamended.
Okay, next item, SB 2152. Recommendation is to pass with amendments reflecting the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
Okay, SB 2152 passed with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Sure.
Oh.
How many times this measure has gone through?
Oh.
Go ahead. Quite a bit though. Next item, SB 2211. If we can have DHS come up. So how is the department paying for this now?
So what we did was we tapped into our 5% restricted funds and then 5% restricted funds, so altogether 10% restricted funds. We also then, Joseph Campos, Deputy Director, Department of Human Services. We also then transferred fourth quarter funding from MedQuest in the amount of 17 million over to the third quarter so that we could also pay for this.
Okay, so really all you need is the 17 million then to pay back MedQuest.
We actually need the 14 million because out of the 38 million, Scott? Yeah. Out of the 38 million, TANF reimbursed us for those that qualified for TANF. So then we were requesting 14 million in this. Okay, so that was the amount that was expended minus the TANF
Okay, so
reimbursement.
the 14 million can be eaten in the basically the reserves,
Correct.
the restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is we also have to tap into money from fourth quarter.
Yeah, so
debt.
how much is that?
So we need the 14 million that we requested,
So that the 14 million pays back
pays back the
MedQuest.
restrictions, MedQuest and BESD.
No, so I'm trying to just separate. I think you should eat the restriction because you have that current money. You're just taking it out of your current budget.
Okay, budget and finance might think differently on that, but
So if you're, you're taking it from your budgeted allocation. So I'm not sure why we would give you an appropriate.
okay.
You're going to have that money plus you're going to be able to, we're going to give you extra money.
Yeah, so
I can understand the paying back of the MedQuest, but eating out of your own budget is
right,
kind
but
of,
so we totally diminished all of our restrictions. So there is nothing left for us should we come to the fourth quarter and need funding that we would normally tap into the restrictions. So this is just a way to make sure that the department is whole, as we go forward into fourth quarter. Every year prior,
yeah. So
we've
how much
always
did,
had to tap
how much
into
did you
the-
lapse last year?
How much did we lapse last year? Yeah,
Okay.
we can get you that figure. But in addition, there is the amendment from the governor's testimony that we also support, which is the 16.5 million for the ACA enhanced tax credit subsidies that disappeared or expired December 31st.
And those you can't take out of your current budget.
No, that is definitely something we would need the monies put forward.
Okay, so the original request, if you guys can get back to us on what you lapsed.
Yes, we'll do.
Okay, thank you. And any questions? Okay, if not, Chair's gonna recommend to pass with the amendments. We're gonna blank the appropriation. Hopefully we can get information from the department. And we'll adopt DHS amendment to insert a new section with a blank appropriation to assist residents in continuing to afford coverage provided by the Affordable Care Act and effective date by 2050. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
SB 2211, passed with amendments. All members present, anyone voting with reservation, no. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2259, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
SB 2259 to pass unamended. All members present, anyone voting no. Reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2315, recommendation is to pass with amendments affecting the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
SB 2315, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is amended. That is recommended, is adopted, sorry.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2342, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Bless you. Having received prior concurrence from the previous committee on page 7 from line 5 to 10, amendments will require that the projects are in TOD zones as defined in HRS 206E-243. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
All members present, SB 2342 passed with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2382, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
SB 2382 to pass unamended, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2442, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2442 to pass unamended, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2446, recommendation is to pass with amendments effective the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2446 to pass with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation,
Thank you.
recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2485, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2485, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2544, recommendation is to pass with amendments, removing the appropriation section in section 4 and instead inserting a new section that provides a blank cap on how much can be appropriated out of DER. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2544 to pass with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2577, recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're just going to change the appropriation section to fund the study through HTA's current budget. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2577 to pass with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2580. Recommendation is to pass with amendments by making changes on page 4, line 14, to blank the total amount of tax credits allowed per year. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2580 to pass with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, SB 2861, recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're going to adopt language from DHS to clarify the eligibility for TANF and adopt the Office of Wellness and Resilience's amendment to provide a 1-year planning period. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2861 to pass with amendments, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Recess. Okay, calling the meeting back to order. Next item, SB 2919. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, blanking the appropriation, effective the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
SB 2919, pass with amendments, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Okay, next item, SB 3326, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion?
Yes,
Senator Noy.
yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be voting no on this measure simply because there has been a study previously, 2019 by DBED, and this affects the Big Island tremendously. Rate increases will happen. We already have rolling blackouts. On top of that, separating a company without an idea of what's going to happen, I think we really need to understand what's going to happen to businesses that's already have so many thousands of people. On top of that, our geographic in this state, the lands, we're an island state. Each island is separated and has its own process of the utility that needs to be provided for that particular islands. And it's very concerning. I see no way out of something like this that we're mandating. It's going to go in statute that these companies must act on the statute. And I can't see anything getting out of this. So I'll keep my vote with a no. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, well, there is a defective date to 2050, so that hopefully there's time to
Chair, can you call recess? I want to talk to you.
recess.
Recess, yeah,
Oh,
please.
recess. Okay, back to order. Senator Wakai.
No, the problems that we face today are because for 135 years, HECO really hasn't changed. This bill makes them change. All it simply does is separates out power generation from transmission and distribution. The study cited by Senator Inouye was in 2019 was about, it was their better business model for them. It wasn't about separation of power from T&D. That study in 2019 found that it was a punt. That was more looking at should it be a co-op, should it be fully privatized, or should it continue to be an investor-owned utility? And it concluded nothing. So that's why we have the status quo that we have today. You look at HECO today, it has most of its diesel generation 50 years old. Some of their diesel generators are 76 years old. We are seeing more and more unplanned outages across our islands. We know that they caused the Maui wildfires. They have a $2 billion judgment against them. They've covered the first $1 billion. They have absolutely no idea how they're going to cover the second $1 billion. They're in no position to make any investments in improving the grid on the power side or the transmission side. No one wants, they're continuing to be in junk bond status. Wall Street isn't going to loan them a dime to do anything to improve the grid. Their fallback plan right now is to beg the U.S. Department of Energy to give them a loan. If they don't get the loan, then things are, that 76-year-old generator is going to be 77, 8. We at a certain point, the legislative body has to come in and help HECO fix problems that they are financially unable to fix on their own. All of us were here last year when they begged us for limited liability and securitization. We gave it to them.
I just want to correct you. We did not give it to them.
We gave them the potential to
No,
get.
so there's a
that.
process that they can actually go through to see if the PUC thinks that they're warranted, but the legislature did not give them any of that.
Okay, if they were financially strong, they wouldn't have asked for any of that, but they're not. They're financially weak. This bill does protect union jobs. There's language in there specifically to say that mainly IBEW is not going to go away if we separate out these two entities. And all we're doing is saying for the generation side, we're going to allow for free competition. We already have, as many of us know, independent power producers that are doing 30% of the renewable power in this state. So there's already successes with HECO having private companies provide us power. This bill simply says all of the power, those 70-year-old diesel generators, someone else might have a better plan as to how to retire those and get us as a community the power that we need, because HECO at this point is just floundering. They cannot.
Yeah, but I think the Senator
Create a
Noy's
better
point is
grid.
that there are differences between HELCO situation and HECO.
There's
Oahu versus Big Island.
Big Island has more and more rolling blackouts. And you look at Maui in 2028, if nothing is done, it's going to go dark. Kahului has no replacement parts for their Mitsubishi generators. Ma'alaya, sorry. Kahului has an EPA exemption that allows them to continue. That's going to go away in 2028. Maui is in the worst situation. Big Island is worse than Oahu, but Maui is like, it's pretty bleak.
So why don't you think we're holding Office of Energy accountable? Because that whole office is supposed to be trying to figure out strategies so that we can generate more energy.
Ultimately, it's the PUC's decision. They can all of us can recommend, well, Energy Office can recommend all they want. It's really up to the PUC.
So why
or the
even have an
legislature.
Office of Energy then, if we're not going to get anything out of it?
They help monitor our methodical plans towards 100% renewable. But we didn't empower them to make decisions on how the utility is set up. That's the PUC's responsibility.
Can
No,
I-
but they can make recommendations for us to invest in certain types of energy options.
And they have.
They haven't.
can I-
Like which one? Like what?
Like the fact that we have solar and batteries that are a bulk of the 35% of renewable energy. You and I are working on geothermal.
Yeah, but that's not because that's their recommendation. Senator Noy?
Yes, just to add to the discussions, Scott Hsu made an appointment, arranged an appointment to brief us in his trip just before the holidays. And the briefing was very important, just to tell me what the plans to make the improvements of our two projects right now existing on the improvements to create and get rid of the diesel operating in Puna and in Hilo. And that's the question I raised as well. When is it going to happen? But there are plans already with HECO and Hawai'i Electric in coming up with the plans for the changes to those two plans. So it's not like they're not doing anything, but there are already plans working on it as well.
But you look at the HECO's history on the Big Island. I mean, they had Pacific Currents that bought that Hamakua plant. They ran that thing into the ground. You guys were without power, I can't remember, 2 years ago, because your baseload generation at Hamakua went kaput. Then Kalailoa Partners, I can't remember the parent company, they bought it. So HECO has a history of not properly operating the grid on the Big Island.
The issue here is we're doing something that we kind of like getting involved with a private entity, a business. There is no plan in this measure that says, okay, maybe the company from Florida will come back and take over. But having to do with a bill to have an agency, a utility company, without giving us what's going to happen to the company, we're actually dismantling a business that's already been with us from generations and more generations to come. So there's no plans. We're doing this. How can the legislature in government do something to a business already operating and you're dismantling their whole operations, not knowing what's going to happen? And that's another issue. Sorry, Mr.
Well,
Chair.
if you're happy with the status quo, then yes, vote no. But I think a lot of us see that there are some really concerning issues currently as well as on the horizon. And this bill is kind of like last year's securitization and limited liability issue. We're not saying this is going to have a breakup. We're putting the onus on the PUC to come up and look across the country. What are the best practices for partial deregulation of their utilities? So this bill is not in itself breaking them up. And yeah, it doesn't have all the answers because the PUC will help us get to all of the answers, just like they are doing with our issue of securitization and with limited liability we passed last year.
Well, maybe we should do a study then,
Yeah.
have PUC do their work.
Chair, I have a comment. I think it might be a good idea, but what we don't have is what are the options to reduce the rates, to get them to be more, to upgrade their facilities or their equipment. So I think it's premature. So there should be something here that allows for an assessment and not just, right now, it just says PUC, just execute. And I think I have problems with that. So
Okay, recess. Okay, reconvening back to SB 3326. So based on the discussion, Chair's recommendation is going to be to pass with amendments. We're going to require the PUC actually initiate a study and do a study. We want a report before next session and the final report the following session. So at least, they're probably not going to get the monies to do it till July. So they won't probably have enough time to do the full study by next session. So if they can at least give us an interim report and then a full report the following session, prior to the following session. And then we'll give them enabling legislation so that depending on what comes from the study, that they may initiate into these types of proceedings.
Chair, just to recap, so we're gonna do one study, but,
The PUC will do the study.
yeah, the PUC gonna do the study, but PUC also said that the rates too might be fluctuations, so that in the PUC's, exploring, they're gonna talk about rates
Yeah,
too.
yeah, so we'll they can talk about rates, other
Okay.
options. We'll try to make it as robust as possible so that we can get as much information as possible. Because as Senator Inouye pointed out, every county may have different economies of scale, things like that. So they can, based on the study, and if they decide that each county might be treated differently, we'll just give them enabling legislation so that if they determine it's in the best interest of the ratepayer to separate, that's up to them. And then they can initiate proceedings.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion? Okay, if not, chair votes aye.
SB 3326 to pass with amendments. All members present, anyone voting no, anyone with reservations? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. No further business, adjourned.